bringing you an occasional brilliant thought. This is the Quadcast, featuring the QuadFather.
Hey, what is up, warriors? It's the QuadFather here, and today I'm talking about pain. Not physical pain, not a broken leg, not a fractured elbow, nothing along those lines, but emotional pain, relationship pain, because that's what I see on a daily basis. I see that most people get hurt by friends in their lives, family members with whom they get in arguments. It's not the physical drama or not having shoes or whatever it is in their lives that hurts people and brings them into a place where they might even need therapy or things like that. It's the relationships that they have and the arguments that they have and the toxicity that is created through difficult relationships and disagreements. And so that's one of the things I want to ask you guys. Have you guys suffered more because of people in your life or because of situations in your life? Okay, I think I know the answer, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. So, and that is, I think people cause more trauma in your life than any other thing. And one of the big things is about arguing and fighting. So, first of all, do you always feel like you have to agree with people in order to be friends with them? I mean, I think there's some basic things like truth, honesty, things like that, that are key to a relationship, and it's hard to be friends with somebody if you don't trust them. But do you always have to agree with people? I personally hope not, because some of the biggest changes and inspiring moments in my life have come from other people who I don't agree with, who have taught me things that I didn't know, that I thought I believed one way, and after talking to them, I believed differently. Now, that's when I'm coming from an open place in my mind. I mean, I have a friend who we have been friends for about 30 years. And from the time we met, we were able to discuss big issues in a way that was non-argumentative. I guess I should start by saying there's a difference between debating and arguing, right? Debating is discussing a topic with the idea that you're each going to tell your own side and listen to the other person. An argument is where you're just fighting to get your opinion across and you have no interest in changing your mind. So there are people like that. There are people who are married to their opinions, who no matter what happens, they will not change their mind. And those are the people that I do not spend much time with. If I realize that there's absolutely nothing I can say to this person to have them change their thought about something, then really all I'm doing is wasting my breath. But if I'm talking to a person who is open to my ideas, who I'm open to their ideas, who I respect as a person, then I want to have a discussion, because that's one of the ways that I fully define how I believe about something. I mean, sometimes it's religion, sometimes it's the nature of people, sometimes it's just how a situation occurred and what happened there. And we need to discuss it. We need to sort these things out with somebody else. And if that person has a different thought about it, then it's going to push me to question either why I believe what I believe, or should I change what I believe. I mean, there are times where, this is not a fan of, I did not make my parents a fan of me, but there are times where I would take the opposite of what I believed and discuss that and argue that point to the end to see if it has flaws in the argument. So I hope I'm being clear. Sometimes we want to get in a discussion because we want other people to understand what we are saying, which is a lot of the times. A lot of the time, people just want to be heard. They just want to know that they're understood. And so if you can listen, respond to what they're saying, clarify what they're saying, even if you don't agree with it, they will know that they're understood, because that's oftentimes what happens. I see it in relationships all the time, especially romantic relationships. People start to argue and they start to get louder and louder and louder because they don't feel like they're being understood. And I've de-escalated or ended discussions or calm down discussions a lot of times just by allowing the other person to know that I hear what they're saying. I understand what they're saying. Not necessarily that I agree with it, but they know that I fully understand what they're saying. Because when people have too much passion, they have too much emotion, then it turns into a fight, an argument. And when the yelling starts, the listening stops. I mean, I always ask myself, in this situation, do I want to be right? Which unfortunately that's true a lot. Or do I want to have a relationship? So do I want to be right or do I want to have a relationship? So there are times where I just want to get my point across to my wife or my kid or whatever, and I just want them to hear it, and I'm not going to change my mind. But that doesn't exactly make for good relationships, right? I mean, if you're hanging out with someone and all they want to do is be right, be right, be right, well, then there's no interchange. There's no exchange of ideas. This person's never going to change their mind. And a lot of times you lose track of what you're even arguing about, right? You know, sometimes I get into arguments and I'm like, were we talking about the dishes, or were we talking about what we're going to do this weekend? Or were we talking about how to deal with the kids, or what? So if things get too heated and too emotional, no change is going to happen. So I always ask myself, am I really my opinions? Is that all I am? So if I change my mind, does that change who I am? You know, I think I'm more than my opinions. And I always remember that ultimately, I don't have the ability to change anybody else. There's absolutely no way. I might be able to change somebody's opinions, but there's no way I can forcefully change somebody else. If that was possible, man, I could make $1 million, publish the book, and everybody would read it, and we would know how to change other people. But I always think back on what are the things that have changed me. It's not an argument. It's not somebody forcing their thoughts down my brain. It's me being inspired by somebody, me seeing something in somebody, or hearing something about how somebody handled something that inspires me to do something different. So if someone tries, I'm kind of oppositional that way. If someone tries to change me, I'm going to dig in my heels, and I am not going to change. But if somebody shows me a different way and is kind and open about what they're doing, then that's definitely the way I'm going to make the change in my life. So the solutions to all this is to seek to understand first, and then seek to be understood. Okay, so you want to understand someone before you try to make them understand you. Also, ask yourself, is this really that big a deal? Is this worth the drama that it's going to create later? And if you are trying to change somebody else's mind, know that you're not going to, unless they're open to it. So you're really not changing anybody else's mind. They're changing their mind. And that's probably true for you too. No one can change your mind. Only you can change your mind. So I hope this helps, because that is one of the things that causes the most pain in life, is arguments with other people and what happens after. So I hope this helped. This is a QuadFather out, and if you don't agree with me, I'll see you in court.
Subscribe. Never miss a moment with the QuadFather. I don't.